I can still remember the exact moment my world began to fracture. It wasn't some explosive fight or dramatic confrontation. It was quieter, more sinister, like a knife sliding beneath the skin without me realizing until it was too late. My wife, Emily, was 6 months pregnant, her belly rounding out beneath the floral dress she wore that evening. I had been working late, buried in spreadsheets and endless client calls, but when I walked through the door, I expected the same routine, her smile, a kiss, maybe a conversation about baby names. But instead, she sat stiffly at the kitchen table, her phone face down beside her, her hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from. Her eyes met mine, but they weren't soft. They were cold, distant, and edged with something I hadn't seen before, contempt. "We need to talk," she said flatly, as if she were about to inform me of a delayed package delivery. My heart tightened. Those words never bring anything good. I pulled out the chair across from her. "Okay, what's wrong?" Emily inhaled slowly, her shoulders rising, and then she dropped the bomb. "You're smothering me. This pregnancy is hard enough without you hovering, acting like you own me. I need space, Daniel." For a moment, I thought I'd misheard her. Smothering her? I was working 60-hour weeks to make sure we could afford the hospital bills, the crib, the endless list of things we needed for the baby. I cooked when I got home, cleaned, ran errands, rubbed her back when she was sick. And yet, she stared at me as though my care was an inconvenience, a burden she couldn't wait to cast aside. I tried to swallow the lump forming in my throat. "I'm just trying to be there for you. For both of you." Her lips curled in a small, dismissive smile. "Well, maybe stop trying so hard. It's suffocating." That night, I lay in bed beside her, staring at the ceiling while she scrolled her phone, the glow of the screen highlighting her indifferent expression. I thought pregnancy hormones were making her distant, that stress was building cracks between us. I convinced myself that once the baby came, she'd soften again, and we'd find our way back to each other. But deep down, a tiny seed of dread began to grow inside me, whispering that maybe the problem wasn't pregnancy at all. Maybe it was something far worse. The weeks that followed only confirmed what my gut had already started screaming. Emily wasn't just distant. She was hostile. Small conversations turned into accusations. If I asked how she was feeling, she'd snap, "Why do you care?" If I suggested a doctor's appointment together, she'd roll her eyes and tell me I didn't trust her to handle her own life. I kept swallowing my pride, convincing myself this was stress talking, not the woman I had vowed to spend my life with. But then little inconsistencies started piling up. Late-night text messages she shielded from my sight. Sudden doctor appointments that never lined up with her medical chart. A perfume scent on her that wasn't hers, expensive, musky, and completely out of place in our modest lives. One night, after she fell asleep, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I know I shouldn't have looked. I know. But when your wife's behavior shifts from love to venom overnight, suspicion doesn't feel like betrayal. It feels like survival. I opened the message. It read, "I can't wait to meet our baby. He'll have your eyes." My blood went cold. Our baby. Our baby? The message wasn't from a girlfriend, a coworker, or some harmless friend. It was from Mark, the man Emily had once introduced to me as just a study buddy from her college days. The same man she swore she had no lingering connection with. I stared at the words until they blurred. My ears rang with a low, furious hum. For weeks, I had been the one breaking my back to provide, the one treated like a nuisance, the one carrying her moods like a punishment. And all along, she had been carrying another man's child under my roof. The next morning, I confronted her. My voice trembled, but not from fear. Rage bubbled just beneath the surface. "Emily, tell me the truth. Is the baby mine?" She froze, coffee cup halfway to her lips. Then she smirked, as if I'd asked something ridiculous. "Does it matter? You've been a good husband. You'll make a good father. Why ruin that with questions?" Her words gutted me more than any confession could have. It wasn't a denial. It wasn't even regret. It was cold calculation, as if my role in her life had been reduced to a provider, a stand-in, a fool willing to raise another man's child while she smirked at my devotion. That was the moment the seed of dread blossomed into certainty. I wasn't just betrayed. I was being used. I wish I could say I handled it calmly, that I walked away with dignity the moment I knew. But the truth is, betrayal has a way of tearing the ground out from under your feet. For a few days, I moved like a ghost through the house, replaying her words on a loop. Does it matter? Every time I thought about the life I had been building, about the nursery I painted, the extra shifts I worked, the future I imagined, it all felt like ashes in my hands. Finally, I reached my breaking point. I made an appointment for a paternity test without telling her. It wasn't easy, but I convinced her to come with me under the pretense of a routine checkup. When the results came back, I didn't even need the envelope. The way the nurse avoided eye contact told me everything before I saw the paper. 0% probability of paternity. There it was. Cold, undeniable truth printed in black and white. The baby wasn't mine. The weight of that paper in my hands was heavier than any burden I'd ever carried. When I showed Emily, she didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just crossed her arms and muttered, "So what? He'll never be what you are, stable, reliable. Do you think he'd stick around if he had to pay bills or wake up at 3 a.m. with a crying baby?" Her indifference was worse than anger. She wasn't sorry for what she'd done. She was angry I had found out. That was the day I called a lawyer. I told her I was filing for divorce, that I refused to be her safety net while she handed my role as a husband and father to someone else. She laughed bitterly, saying I'd regret it, that no woman would ever put up with my neediness. But for the first time in months, I didn't feel weak. I felt free. Now, as I sit here signing the final papers, I realize something. Betrayal doesn't just shatter your heart, it rebuilds your backbone. I lost a wife, yes. I lost the dream of a child who would carry my name. But what I gained was far more important: clarity. I will not raise another man's child under the illusion of love. I will not sacrifice my dignity for someone who discarded me the moment it suited her. Emily chose her path. Now I'm choosing mine. And mine begins with freedom.